Alrighty, we got another week, which means this is going to be episode 61, which also means we've got a comment corner. This week's comment corner comes from Samuel Hizzy, I think is how it's pronounced, 5439. Do you know yet who the people who destroyed Sasuke's village are? And that comment came in episode 38. That is an interesting question. It's not a question I thought to ask, to be honest with you. Like, my primary concern, to be honest, is, especially when Sasuke's been missing for so long, I don't know exactly how many episodes it's been, but it's been a long damn time. I know we've gotten a couple references. He escaped from the hospital. He's apparently training with Sensei. But who knows what we can trust in that regard, right? I sure as hell don't trust Gaara's memory or far seeing, whatever they call it, remote seeing. I think it's called remote seeing. I don't trust that. So, So I've been primarily concerned with Sakura and Radu, and I guess Lee. They've occupied a lot of my attention lately. Out of sight, out of mind. Sasuke's not around right now. And, if this was live action, you would assume the actor was pregnant or had taken an injury or was in rehab or something, because, they're being very coy and they're doing just enough to hint and suggest the character's still around and keep bringing him up so we know that they haven't written the character out of the show, but we're not seeing him. But it's animation. So it's purely for story reasons. One of the things that annoyed me about Dad, I told you, I started my reaction channel before YouTube existed, watching shows with Dad. And we would do the same thing I do here. We would talk, we would joke, we'd pause and comment, we would do intros, essentially, which we would talk about the show before we started watching it. We would talk about the show when it was done. All the things you see me do here, I was doing with Dad from, I guess, about 1996 until he died in 2018. We would do this. He couldn't get out much. He had a bad back. He couldn't do much, and especially the later he got into that, the last 20 years of his life, he could only just watch TV. So I would do it with him to spend time with him. And so this evolved, and then we did this thing. There's a very specific way that we watch TV, and it's essentially a reaction channel, But during the course of this, he would have certain, meme opinions, you might say, repeated opinions or meme, kind of like you have running gags on reaction channels. Dad and I would have some of those. One thing I used to do, which I don't really do here, is I used to do the Homer Simpson grunt when a character would do something stupid. Don't! I would do that a lot. It would always make Dad laugh. So that was our little running gag. I don't really do that here. I guess that kind of fell by the wayside. But the thing he would do, which would irritate me to no end, because I'm a producer, I'm a writer, director. I've talked to people in Hollywood. I know the things. A lot of times you do things for story reasons. But he would say anytime a character was written out of a show, he would say the actor wanted more money, so they fired him. He used to piss me off. Yes, that would happen a couple times. Very rarely. It was always they didn't like what was being done with their character. They were always sidelined. They didn't have any storylines of their own. Or maybe they got a better deal. Maybe they wanted to do movies. There's so many reasons why an actor would leave a show. Sometimes the writers just say, we've done all we can with this character. Let's move on. Let's bring in new characters. Sometimes that's what it is. He would just always reduce it down to that one thing. And I think he would do it to troll me. I never really confirmed this with him. He'd do it to piss me off, right? Because it was the actor wanted more money, so they wrote him off. But we never really watched any animation. He wasn't really into animation. And typically I would want to watch what he wanted to watch. So in animation, you can't use that as an excuse. I mean, the actor could be anywhere in the world. They could be shooting another movie and still hit a recording studio. We see it all the time. The Simpsons actors are never in the same room anymore. They always record their lines separately these days. You can't use that excuse in animation. So I guess I just, would love to flaunt this in his face. I guess is my point. Nobody else cares. But I'm just saying, me personally, I would love to flaunt this in his face. It's purely for story reasons. Sasuke is not in drug rehab. Yeah, just, Anyway, enough tangents. My point is, I haven't given it any thought. I haven't thought about him. It wasn't even a question I was entertaining. Now that we're entertaining the question, I think we gotta believe it's the same person going after him. The guy with the name that's hard to pronounce, Amanachi or whatever, or whoever's behind him, because I think he's the dragon. I don't think he's the actual big bad. I think there's somebody behind him that typically is in these kind of shows. I was told this goes up to 135 and then the rest is filler or something like that. We're at episode 61. We're almost halfway through that 135. So at this point, it's about time to reveal the big bad, if there is one. So I don't know. Basically, I wanted to highlight this comment because I'm glad they asked the question because it's not a question I had considered. I hadn't thought about it. Didn't think it was important. It makes me wonder if there's something darker here going on. Like, say, the good guys destroyed the village. Like, they didn't trust the powers that were being developed in that particular village, and so they wiped it out to like wipe out that power line. Like, say there was ability to bring back the dead. Say that's a ninja ability. You can bring back the dead. You can raise a corpse. Either necromancy, zombification, or literally just resurrection. I could see the good guys being like, we can't let anybody have that power. Let's wipe out the village. That'd be dark. And the Hokage would have to be behind it. And so you would be like, well, like that would create a lot of conflict. It'd be very interesting. And it would be a great reason to raise the question. But I wonder if it's going to go that dark and go that deep. And I wonder if we're just going to have the obvious solution, which would be the already known bad guys and adversaries that are out there, right? Like, somebody created Garrett the way he is. So maybe the people behind that are the ones who did it, right? So it'll be interesting. I can see it going either way. But I'm glad this question has been raised. So now I'll be thinking about that. If we ever get him back on screen. I assume we will. Alrighty. In any case, let's go ahead and get into it. This is episode 61. We're going on one. 3, 2, 1. Oh, it's all peaceful. Interesting place to start considering we ended on a cliffhanger last episode. Why aren't you there in the audience? Unless that's a flashback. This a-hole. Oh, he's there. He took the mask and he's under disguise. He's gonna be there. Okay, this is not a flashback. This is happening right now. I wonder if he's gonna infiltrate the stadium. I wonder if he's gonna infiltrate the stadium disguised as one of these Black Ops guys, special forces or whatever they're. This ought to be good. I can't remember, but I don't think can. I'm a little confused. Can the clones actually fight? Can they hit people? I can't remember. Maybe they can because remember when all those dogs were like attached to that guy and holding him in place? They can make physical contact. Those are kind of like clones. I guess what it is, they can't perform magic attacks. Yeah. Don't run away, you little bitch. So you think. It's just a clone. Chump. Right? Except it's a trick. Maybe he's right. So is that obvious, huh? Shit, I thought he fooled him. Then again, I'm always waiting for the reversal, the trick, the twist. If he disappeared, he's got blood though, so I guess that's really him. Oh shit. Yes, okay, that's what I thought. You can never know, man. He was hiding it the whole time. Hey, man, how you rooting for the guy that kicked your ass? I couldn't do it, man. Yeah, because it's brilliant. Yep. See, that's the kind of cunning I'm talking about, man. Nice. Yeah, shit, he still got defenses. Well, still a nice play. If a team beats the Colts in the playoffs, I'm not going to root for that team in the next round. Fuck them. You know? I ain't doing it. That was still good though. All I knew is you didn't win. He's got defensive shields apparently. I like in the subtitle he says you punk. Agreed. I like the name calling. But he can't react to all the attacks at every point in the compass all at the same time. Then again, maybe he can. How about if you attack from directly above? Maybe you can make him burn up a lot of his magic, right? Of course, you're burning up a lot of your magic with the clones, right? So, what do they call it? War of attrition? Intense burst of chakra, huh? That's a lot of chakra you're burning up there. Thanks for this lecture, random audience member. This would play better if she had like an apprentice she was explaining this stuff to. Just doing this in her head is very clumsy. She should have like some young person, maybe like a younger sister, like we saw earlier, and that character. This being explained to her, right? It just plays better. She's his hype woman. Then make it happen. You're great at defense. Attack. I love the illustrations they use for these explanations. I will say that, like, yeah, as whether the dialogue's clumsy or not, the illustrations they do with it are always great. They help you understand. Oh shit! 16 palms. What is it? That song? 29 palms. No, 29. It's a better song. He was kicking that ass. Again, the whole point of this tournament is the arms race. That's the ultimate point. This tribe has demonstrated they've jumped ahead, man. Look at that. I still got a little bit left. Outrageous. We make our own succession. That's why I said 64 palms. The mocking is too much for me. Win with dignity, you a hole. But this again is part of the fight, right? You want to make sure he's defeated. Dude, you couldn't even get a win or a loss. You just tied. That's like kissing your sister. But yeah, win with dignity, man. But again, like I said, I keep talking back and forth. You want him to quit just in case there's any chance he can win. You want him to quit, so that's why you say things like that. You want him to just submit. It's all about the psychological war going along with the physical war. You know, that's the thing to always keep in mind in this show. Everything they say and do within the battlefield is to a purpose. Again, you're rooting for him to die. The assumption is he has nothing left, so this is just now you could possibly be grievously injured, right? I think he's got more. I think he's accessing the nine-tailed chakra. I got another chakra you missed on my middle finger. Yeah. Place commercial there, I guess. That was clumsy. Yeah, what is happening here, man? Did she lend him power or something? I wonder if she lent him power somehow. Like she's suffering damage because of what he's going through. Like a soul bond or something. It's not all right. I'm not suspicious or anything. That dialogue is terrible. I'm glad it didn't say that audibly. Yeah. 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 See, now he's doing the psychological warfare. A hole. Yeah. At least the guy with the dog is going. I'm judging you, is my point. I don't trust this dude. That's probably the double agent. Yeah, right. He probably poisoned her so he could do this. How's the audience dealing with this? What? We can't hear what they're saying. Why aren't they fighting? You got one, huh? Hey, we don't really need to undress. One thing they did on Buffy I really liked was they would talk to each other, and the bad guy would lure Buffy into a conversation, and she would be involved in the conversation, and they'd sucker punch her. That's what I'm expecting happening here. You're so interested in what he's saying, you don't realize you're still in a fight, right? Because go to hell. She has failed this city. What's happening down there? That's how it works. You're not bitter or anything. Too bad she's weak. Look at him over there. Shut up, kid. You disgust me, that's all. I'm still bitter. So I should hit you right in the middle of it. Thank you for that information. You're probably smart. Yeah, just like your personality. I said your kick is weak. Why are you throwing punches? How'd that work out? You still disgust me. Oh, shit. This is outrageous. She's weak. Huh. You can use that mark against him, right? That's right. He got pissed off for one quick second. That's all it takes. I was just remembering Cloud Atlas. God damn, that movie's bad. Yeah, they can use that mark against you, man. That's ugly. Right, it's a control. It's like a shackle. That's when he turned evil. That was his villain origin story. Thank you for giving all this information. I can now mercilessly mock you during the rest of this fight and piss you off. Manipulate your emotions. Good shit, homie. This is dark, but could he cut it off or like burn it off? If he destroys the mark on the skin, does that work? Probably not. Yeah, but what if we get mad? Hey, man, he shouldn't have been talking shit or having murderous intent. Yoink. It's a very big bed for such a small person. I guess not. The other shot made it look huge. Carrying her like a sack of groceries. I like their eyes turning evil, man. Vampire eyes. We need better security. Let me guess. Oh, I see. Yep. He's willing to start a war to get it. Or resume a war. So they bitched out. No justice, no peace. Hey, man. He already had murderous intent. I see why you got beef. It would have been nice to know this before he dueled her, though. It's interesting to get this afterwards. I'm just saying, before, I would have been much more invested in the fight. And probably thought she would win. Yeah, my destiny to advance to the next round. Thank you for letting me give me time to recover from your attacks. That was bracing. Here's the thing. I don't know, like, I don't have a problem with them, like, the fight coming to a grinding halt while we get this exposition dump. Because we need to know this, and I don't know where else we get this. Maybe we get this instead of him running away from bulls to get to the stadium. That would have been a good time to do it. Like, he could be sitting down for drinks with somebody and telling them the story. I don't know who that'd be, but you can construct a scenario where that would happen, right? Maybe he'd even run into Naruto, and we have you have a few minutes before we go to the stadium, and we could just have this talk the same way, kind of you have it here, right? You just have it before the fight. I think that'd been better. Screw that. You don't even need to increase the episode count. Just screw the being chased by bulls. Run into him like, hey, let's get a drink before we do this. It's gonna be ugly, you know. Let's have I love that like the detente between two opponents before they have combat. You sit down, you share one drink before things get ugly. Like I love it, and they could have had this conversation. That's probably how I would have done it. Monday morning quarterbacking, but I would have done that rather than bring the fight to a grinding halt in the middle of the fight. So I guess there is a. I was gonna say I didn't know where else you'd do it, but I just came up with one. That's probably what I would do. But no shade. It's still I enjoyed it all, but very interesting backstory and well delivered by the voice actor.